Hello and welcome to your July Shadowscope with me, Sally Kent. I'm really looking forward to pulling some cards for you and delving into the insight and guidance of the tarot and also some archetypal decks. And I'm using my own personal deck for the Shadowscopes. I thought it would be interesting to bring in the deep, rich symbolism from the Egyptian Thoth Tarot, which has a deep and enchanting history, let's say. They always resonate with me from my own personal readings, and I thought it was about time that I share some of that deep, rich magic with you all. So without further ado, I hope you really enjoy your July Shadowscope. So let's take a look at the cards. Hello beautiful Sagittarius. Welcome to your July Shadowscope. The energy is an interesting one for July for you. Well, I'm just going to tell you, I shuffled the cards. The cards that jumped out are the cards that are in front of you. The more complete I got to pulling all of the cards, the hungrier I felt. And so I went and made myself a sandwich. But then even though I felt full, there was still part of me that was hungry. So then I reached for some cookies. And I was thinking, this is so strange. This is like really unusual for me to be like this. And I realised that this is your energy. This is your hunger. And as soon as I realised that it was Sagittarius energy that I was picking up on, I realised why this reading was so important. Because we need to address your needs being met. Your stability, your feeling of safety, your feeling of feeling protected, guided, that place within you that can access inner peace. This is all what's happening for you currently in July. Is this focus upon creating and maintaining a safe family environment. And what I mean by family is friends, close ones, colleagues, whatever, people, you know, that feel like fam. People that you feel safe around and relaxed around, and not so tense that you can't even hear the voice of the angels or the voice of your higher power, your intuitive voice. It's like there's so much going on in your mind that it's like you can't see the solutions at the beginning of July, but they're there. And you know how you find them? You find them by letting go. And you know what you've got to let go of. Everybody knows what you've got to let go of. It's but everybody that loves you respects that it's your choice whether you let them go or not, or you let the situation go or not. Maybe a good shadow question to ask yourself is, why have you been hanging on all this time? Is it because you have been trying to cultivate the strength and the courage to change your circumstances? That would make sense. Your energy feels low to me at the moment when I tune into it. It feels like there were times in the past where you had more energy, you had more vitality, you had more freedom. And that was one of the words I kept hearing, was restriction. You know, like feeling mentally, emotionally, physically and spiritually restricted. And you can change this, you know. The interesting energy of what's coming up for you in July is that, like, you face a choice, a crossroads. Do you stay where you are and continue doing what you've always been doing and risk stagnation and more turmoil? Or do you choose to move in a new direction towards your passions? And when you reach that point, and I'm intuitively feeling around the 14th of July, there's a peak moment where you're like, no, I've had enough. Excuse me. Have some water. And this is what's interesting about the Chariot energy, is that one of the Sphinxes is said to represent our animalistic drives, you know, our passion, our aggression, our sexual passion and our aggression. And then the other Sphinx is said to represent kind of our future goals, our passions in terms of what we want to achieve. And it's said to, when you have both of those forces in alignment with one another, then that's when the Chariot can move. So you can move towards your goals and ambitions if you use that aggressive and sexual drive to get there. So we all know how amazing you are when you're feeling sexy and when you're feeling appreciated and you're achieving your goals and you're smashing your targets, and you know, you're spending time with people that invigorate your energy and you have fun, and you know, your laugh can reverberate across the communities because it's that deep belly laugh and that deep appreciation of fun and going for things that really set our heart on fire and excite us. And I feel like you've kind of lost your way a little bit with that energy recently, and the universe is encouraging you to get that back, and to use that emotion, to use that passion and that future vision of you regaining your mojo, so to speak, your dazzle. So where you are right now is that it's up to you with what you want to create. You know, we become like the people that we spend the most time with. So who are you choosing to spend your time with, Sagittarius? How is that reflecting your work, your relationships? What are you choosing to create? You know, what you focus on, you create more of. You know, the way people are viewing you at the moment is that you're surrounded by conflict and enduring some inner conflict. You know, the outer is always a representation of what's going on internally. And, you know, internally it's you going through a struggle. It's, you know, there's always something happening that you have to, or that you feel you have to react to. But by reacting, you're giving energy to the situation, therefore perpetuating it, and it just goes on and on and on. And then you find yourself back in the same pattern with the same situation, but this time it's worse. So the universe is speaking to you all the time, and the universe is always listening. So what you're saying and what you're focusing on, the universe is going to deliver more of that. So it really is about sorting the issues out from within. So for instance, you're in a room with somebody and they're wanting to pick a fight with you. They're starting to kind of wanting to spark a reaction. You could do what you always do and react and get into a debate, or you could leave the room and say on the way out that you're not going to have a conversation that is about conflict. And you can choose what happens by choosing to feel a certain way. And really, I think when you haven't got a mission or you haven't got something to look forward to, I think it's easy for you to get involved in the dramas because it's entertaining in some way. but it is depleting your energy that you would usually use to pursue those dreams and to pursue those passions. You're highly entrepreneurial, you're a money magnet in July, and it would be such a shame for you to squander that energy on like silly squabbles and low vibrational energy, let's face it. But you partaking up until now in this low vibration energy, it says something about your psyche that you need to unravel some things, that you want to experience some turmoil so that you can really change your life in a beneficial way and develop yourself. So for those of you that have been thinking about returning to study or doing a course in some way, developing your skills, your insights, your wisdom, it's an excellent idea to do so. The universe is really supporting you in developing yourself. For some of you, I feel like it's to do with psychology. It's like wanting to understand the inner workings of the mind so that you can, you know, deal with your own thoughts and also other people's behaviour. And that's the thing. It's like once we can get a grip of our own internal state, it becomes much easier to deal with the world. You know, in the perfect world, for me, we would be taught all of this at school, you know, so that we would be surrounded by people that also are partaking in practicing mindfulness and meditation and emotional intelligence, you know. But this is something that we as adults have to cultivate it, you know. And I just feel like there are so many people around you, Sagittarius, that really want the best for you. And if you could just take a breath and really kind of look around honestly at your environment and the people that you're surrounding yourself with, and really ask yourself whether or not this is in alignment with your purpose and what the angels or God or kind of people that have passed over, what they would want for you. And I feel like having that inner spiritual fortitude, that inner spiritual strength, will give you the courage to demonstrate that on a material level, and also it will help keep your mind on track that you've got this plan and this is what you're going to stick to. And it does involve letting go, it really does. And I think it's letting go of anxious thought patterns, you know. So if you find yourself, for instance, like picking your skin or scratching yourself to the point where you're like hurting yourself, you know, that is a sign that you're internalizing your anger and internalizing your kind of upset. So try journaling this month, you know, try dancing, swimming, you know, moving the body and expressing your emotions in any way that your intuition is guiding you to do so. It's interesting that the Thoth card that you've got is the Nine of Swords, and in the Thoth deck they call it cruelty, because essentially when we are in an anxious behaviour, thought pattern, it does feel cruel, and essentially it's kind of self-imposed when we worry about things that either haven't happened or have happened. It's kind of we're missing the present moment, which is where all the peace is. And you know, choosing to worry or choosing to focus on things that haven't happened, or it's like stealing our own joy, really. And it is a form of cruelty to oneself. And what tends to happen is that when we're stuck in that thought pattern, we tend to attract people that are on that kind of same wavelength around us, to force our psyche to see what is going on internally outside of us. So, and it can be a hard pill to swallow, especially when we're unhappy with kind of how somebody's treating us or what we're kind of experiencing. But the path of shadow work and intense healing is to really take responsibility and to look at how that person's behaviour is reflecting your internal space. So that brings us on to the archetypal message for you for July, which is the Siren, and it's such a beautiful energy because it's encouraging you to go deep. It's encouraging you to go deep into your emotions, into that place of depth. So the siren is known as the temptress, the seducer and the femme fatale. So the archetype cards are mirrors to our soul, much like the tarot, but the archetypes are meant to be worked with and embodied. So what I'm about to kind of say to you, it may resonate on certain levels with you, but it may resonate very deeply on a particular level. Excuse me. And then it's kind of up to you to continue that work so that you can heal that aspect and embody that archetype in your psyche. So the siren calls and the world spins. What we thought we wanted pales in comparison to the sweet allure of her song. We find ourselves lost in a spell of desire and longing, perhaps even lust. Whether the thing calling to us is ultimately good or bad is somewhat irrelevant. It's the journey that matters. And the work of the siren is to take us on a deep psychic descent. Following her song, we go down, 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 to a place where lessons are learned and courage must be rallied to find our way back to dry land. Try as we might, resisting the call may not even be an option. Unless we bind our hands to the mast of our ship, it is likely though that falling for her call is the only way we will come to live a more fully life on the surface. Other iterations of the siren archetype include the nymph, the mermaid and the fairy. They often come in sets of 3 as a trinity of temptation. Embodying the siren archetype requires that we explore things that are taboo. The siren laughs at conventions and constraints. She eats the rules. So, just like the tarot, the archetypes can be seen in dark and in light. So when the siren is being experienced in a light form, you might be feeling awakened in your sensuality, absorption in things and arousal. But when the archetype is dark within you, then you might be experiencing feelings of wickedness, adultery, wreckage, betrayal, insatiability, so not being able to get enough of something. So I feel like you're being encouraged to really honour what it is that you feel that you need for you, and to really cultivate a vision by really sitting with those feelings. And it seems like July, you're going to gather the strength, the insight, the passion, the momentum to pursue those dreams and to establish yourself in a new way and to develop in a new way too. And to allow yourself to live outside the box and to get your freedom back, because there's some part of your life where you're really longing for that. And the siren is calling you and saying you can have it, just do what you want. So Sagittarius, I hope that helped. If it resonated with you, I'd love to hear how it resonated. If you would like something more personal and specific, feel free to get in touch. And I'm sending you so much love for July, and I'll see you in August. Bye.